All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to go over some exciting updates to Infor's 8.5 release. There were some changes going on. They're still working on some stuff. Not sure if you guys saw yesterday that they're actually pushing back the 8.5.0.1. So seems like things are a little bit up in the air with some of the features that they're adding. But today what we're going to show you is what's currently available and what we're able to highlight here for what's in the 8.5.0. So we already had a question on this, and I want to make sure everybody's aware. We will always record these events. We'll put them on our website. We'll put them on our YouTube channel, and I will make sure to send that recording to you in a follow-up email. Anyone who registers will always get that recording from us, so you can access it later and make sure that you're able to view it. If you have questions throughout for Trevor, you can go ahead and throw those in the chat box, and we'll make sure to get to them. My name is Deneen, and I am your host, and Trevor is our co-host who's going to be walking us through all of this great information today. And as I said, he's a great resource. Trevor knows a lot about Infor, and we're really looking forward to diving into some of these exciting topics with you today. So here's kind of an overview of what we're going to be chatting about. A lot of discussion about workflows, workflow notifications, workflow approvals, quotas, the new dashboard design. What does that look like? What is it supposed to do? And the activity groups. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to hand it over to Trevor to get us started here.
All right, hello everybody. Okay, so we'll start taking a look at some of the new workflow. Some of this is from the later 8.4 updates, and then some of this is from just 8.5. Before take a look at the workflows, we'll need to set up, for the sort of first time, you can actually, Infor can send emails to some degree, just natively within the system. So if we go to administration and office profiles, and then open up the office profile for your company. Generally at this point, there's just the one. And in the usually in the more tabs here, in the email setup, go ahead and add the email address and account information for the account that'll be sending the email notifications from Infor. We've got our notifications at TechADV here. And the information for ours is a Office 365 account. So just whatever your SMTP information is for your email address. And then to go into the workflow notification itself, go over here to integration and into the integrations. Started. Okay, so integrations, and then we'll be using the CRM workflows. There have been some ION workflows if you have the ION system set up and integrated with your Infor CRM and usually like your ERP on the back end. But here we can just use the CRM workflows without needing to set up anything else. And here's the general workflow page. We've got just the general information on the top here, and then different workflows that we can set up or have set up. To create a new one, go ahead and click the plus sign here and give it a name and a description, and then the entity that the workflow is going to go against. Here we're going to make one for opportunities, but you can pick most, if not all, of the entities within the system. Once you have picked one and you actually create the workflow, you can't go back and change it, but you can always make a new one. We'll go ahead and go with one we've already made here. So this is going to send out an email anytime that an opportunity is over $150,000. So if when you're making a new one, you click the plus sign, pick opportunity for entity, and then you'd end up in this area. And you can have the workflow trigger when you insert a new opportunity or when you update an existing one. And again, here's we're working against the opportunity entity. The trigger conditions are what are going to cause the workflow to happen. So anytime we get an opportunity with a sales potential greater than $150,000, and anytime that opportunity is open, at least for here anyway, we don't want it to run on anything that gets closed or gets set to inactive. So we'd go ahead and set up, one or more conditions. Here we've got 2. Just click the plus sign to add more, and then you'll see what those are right here. So sales potential greater than 150,000 and open. And down here are the steps that will run when the workflow fires off. Now these go based on a database trigger, basically. So again, anytime an opportunity is inserted or updated, you'd add new steps here. I'm just going to go open the one we've already made. So this step's going to send out a notification, and the actions are notify or approval, which we'll look at later. Once you set that, it stays. So this is a notification, and description, other information here. You can have an additional condition on this step itself. We don't want anything. We just want it to fire off when the overall condition of a opportunity over 150,000 happens. In here is the template of what's going to come along in the email. And you can, excuse me, just type out normally like you would for any email template. And you also, if you click the @ sign, have access to either fields in Infor CRM that you're inserting here, kind of like the the old mail merge templates do. So you can get at various fields. You can get at the name of the account manager, the email of the account manager, which we'll take a look at in a second. Here we've chosen the description. So we're just going to say, the opportunity, name of opportunity is over $150,000. And here, this, again, if we click the @ sign, we get our list here. I'm just going to type a link. So here we get the link to the detail form. So actually, this is just going to be a link to the opportunity itself. So when somebody gets the email, they can click on that link and it'll open the opportunity in Infor. The recipients, I've just got my user here. I'm going to hit the @ sign. And I can type me in. So I'm set up as a user in this system. And within my user account, I have filled out my email address. So that's how it knows where to send my email. And then another one here, we want the account manager, email address. So it's going to include that account manager as well. And you can also manually type email addresses too. So we've already got that all set up. So now we have set up our workflow. Let's go into an opportunity. And we have an opportunity that's currently at 56,000. So let's bump some of these up. Now we get the sales potential over 150. And the process runs with the Infor CRM job server. I believe this job runs about once a minute. So it may take a few seconds. It may take around a minute or so until an email comes through. And there we go. So we get the email sent out with the subject like we set up, and it automatically inserted the name of the opportunity there. And then here's a link to, it won't work because I've got this email open in a different window, but if you were to click that, then it would bring up, either the opportunity or the login screen so that you can get into it. And it went out to my email address, and then Lee Hogan, who is the account manager here. So that is the notification email or notification workflow. We also have approval workflows where users can approve something in the system. Now I'll show you this. I thought I had it working at one point, but it doesn't seem to totally be working on my demo environment, but we'll get up to the point of that. And then we can just show you with that screen. So back into integrations, or integrations. Same CRM workflow. It's the same area here, it's just a different type. So if you would make a new one, I'm sorry, we're gonna make it on quotes. So you'd pick quotes here in the entity. And we're going to send out an approval. We'll just open the one that we already made here. Send out an approval when a quote has a discount of greater than 10%. So similar up here in the screen as before, something against the quotes. We have our condition here where the discount of a quote is greater than or equal to 10%, so 0.1, just because that's how it is stored in the system. And our steps. So we would, if making a new one, click the plus sign, and the action would be approval. Previously we had a notify. So it will be an approval. And we'll open up what we've got here. Here, similar, subject to the email. This quote has a discount of 10% or more. Do you approve? And here we've added in with the @ sign, we've added a link to the approval form, which will take them into Infor so that they can approve or not approve. And then the recipients is a little different with the approval action. So now we can add the people that we want to approve, either again by just my user record here. I think you can also, you could also have one of the account managers in there. But right now we've just picked the two users, me and Lee Hogan. You can have multiple, as many as you want, more or less. And you can either by percentage of approvers or the actual number determine how many have to approve before this is approved. And you can also just include people on the email that can't do anything, but they can see what has happened. And after 14 days, if nobody approves this, it'll just not be approved. So in a quote here, go ahead and make a new quote. We'll add some products. Oh, at some point, I think it was 8.4, update 04 or 8.5, they changed the, if you're associating something, we're not adding a product here, we're just selecting a product and adding it, associating with this opportunity. These aren't plus signs anymore, they're just kind of whatever shape that is. And then this is to remove instead of the minus. If you're actually adding like a new contact or something where you're creating a new record, it's still the plus and minuses. So we have some amount here, so we'll just set the discount to 25%. And this is where it should trigger the email, but for some reason mine hasn't. It's my demo system that occasionally gets some random things happening to it, so I'm not sure what the issue is at the moment. But what you would see is in this workflows area, it should still pop up in a second. It's just not going to send the email out or completely populate the area. And if that doesn't do anything in a second, we'll go back to one of the other ones. There we go. So it's created the workflow. And the current step is that it's been sent for approval. That should be the 2 users here that show up. And then this is Lee Hogan, which is one of those users. Should see that he's got an active workflow in here. So it would show up here. I believe this is the one. Yeah. So the user would get a link to a screen like this where they would go in and either approve. It seems like it's not activating it for some reason. But you would be able to see, who has approved it, who has not done anything yet, who has not approved it. So yeah, that is the screen. And again, for some reason in my environment, that's not presently working. But that's the workflow approval. And then previously was the workflow notification. Also, we've got in here are quotas and forecasts. These aren't all, it was a later 8.4, I think, and some of 8.5 that added this. Well, you can make quotas for your salespeople over here in the quotas area on the left. And then you can make a new, hang on. So this is the administrator here. So we can go into the quotas area. And then here's where you'd make a new quota. We have the one for Lee Hogan for August. Then we can set what his quota amount is. And the system, when you pick a date, automatically fills it in for that period. There's a setting in the administration area where you can change it to monthly or quarterly or a few other options. Right now, this is set to monthly. So if we make a new one, say we want to copy the quota for next period, click that button, makes it for Lee again. And this is for September. And then it automatically puts the start date as the beginning and end of September. And you can change the quota amount. And you can also just make a copy in general where you could change it to a different user and change the amount as well. And even change the date. If you change it to the next month, again, because it's set as monthly, it'll automatically populate the end date with the end of that month. And when you have quotas in there, you can use the forecasts as well. And also the forecasts use opportunities. And in order to get an opportunity included in your forecast, you just want to make sure that this add to forecast checkbox is here. So we've got some for Lee here, I believe. So yeah, so again, so we've checked this add to forecast button on the opportunities that we want in the forecast. Go into forecasts here on the left side. And we'll see different forecasts for users. We've got the two, one for July and one for August for Lee. Go ahead and open his August one. And saying these are made new forecasts. And then just pick the user. So we see at the top here, the user that this forecast is for, the start and end date of the forecast. It's, again, is automatically monthly. You can change the date range that you would like. Down here are the opportunities that have been included that are either estimated to close or have actually closed one within the date range. So between August 1st and August 31st, these are the opportunities. You do need to manually refresh some of these areas. So if we would have checked another opportunity or created one recently, go ahead and hit this reset button. Yeah, I don't think I have any new ones, but it reloads all the ones that apply here. And then in the worksheet, it shows you the quota that we set earlier for Lee for this time period. The amount of actually closed won opportunities there are, and then the percent of the quota that is. And here you can see the, not actually closed, but the opportunities that are estimated to close within this time frame. So the potential pipeline, and then the total here, which is the potential and includes the ones that have actually closed. And then you can use this either, the average of those numbers, or the maximum altogether. Click either of these, and this button here will populate the actual forecast amount up here. And you can also manually type in whatever you would like as well, but you can use the worksheet area here to figure out what you'd like the forecast to be. And there's also a forecast pipeline view that uses also opportunities for each account manager. And you can see the pipeline by account manager for the next 30, 60, over 60 days, and just some out of the box values they have, by country, by that user's manager, by product in the opportunities, if you have that selected, and then a few others just by region or by state. And also this, basically this pipeline by account manager is also in a dashboard, which is in one of the original. So the welcome menu is still there. That's similar to how it is in 8.4 and below. The new dashboards are in this dashboard section here, but you can see this opportunity forecast graph that's similar to that other area. Opportunities closing in 30 days by account manager, by amount, and just by number in 30 to 60 days and more than 60 days. And again, this is currently in the sort of older style of dashboard. But if we click over here to dashboards, we see the newer version. And you can see they made it look a lot cleaner, a little more modern and easy to read in some ways. It's pretty similar. There's the pie chart, the funnel, and different lines. So the line chart there. But they did add a few new ones and changed a few of them, which is nice. So there's this gauge one. One people always wanted just to see the number of something, which was not possible in the previous version. So you can now, it does have this chart on top of it, but we can see, for example, these are the number of tickets that are open and assigned to Lee. So he's got 29 of them. We can also set the amount sort of in this gauge here. So these are the open opportunities for Lee. And he's got 120,000 worth, more or less. And you can also set a goal of 150,000. So that's what this is showing. That here's up to 150, and he's, almost there, but got a little further to go. He's 30,000 down from the goal. So that's one of the new charts, one of the new widgets. And then in the samples area, we can see just how the new dashboards are set up. There's the donut chart, which I think is new. It's sort of similar to a pie chart. But you can hover over and see the actual amounts within. These aren't too hard to see, but if it was smaller, you could do that. So again, one of those gauge charts. The funnel. And what's nice about like the bar charts and the line charts and a few others is they've added the ability to use more than one data source. So you can see more than one thing on the dashboard, on the graph at a time. So right now we're seeing actual and potential for each account manager. Previously, you could only have one sort of data source on each graph. So we go into the settings. You can see down here, we've got the data sources of, these are the conditions for the actual, and these are for the potential. You can add, I won't recall offhand if there's a limit. Obviously, at some point, it's just going to get impossible to read, but you can add at least 2 separate data sources and compare those, like this year versus last year, actual versus potential, something like that. And you can also on these zoom in so you can see the data a little better if you've got a large chart. So we've zoomed in so we can see each one more closely, and you can still hold and hover over there. And you can also pan around. Just look at the different information that you'd like. Then go ahead and just click that and it'll zoom back out. And you can just directly export a picture of the dashboard widget as well. So you can use that in a separate report or for whatever you need to. And similar thing with the column charts, you can zoom in and zoom around. So that's the new dashboard setup. Definitely improved the look of it, and you get some nice new functions for a few of the different charts. And last, I think we might have gone over this on the last one. This was from 8.4 up to 8.04, but they've made it so you can actually create a group of activities, which also is something that was often requested. So in the activities area now, you can actually create regular groups like you can for other things like accounts, and opportunities, etc. So we can make something like a group of my activities for next week and edit the group there. And in the conditions, we can do start date. We'll just edit that. And then there's also these, if you check the use value as literal box, there are some new items that were added too, so you can get different ranges of time rather than having to either come up with some complex way of querying it or just sort of having to do with, last 30 days instead of the actual last month. So we have, last month, last week. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, next week. And again, that's check this use value as literal, and then it'll give you this different view where you can actually, if you don't have anything in there, but you can actually see the options available. So we want everything next week. And just to make the group in general, if you want to share it with everyone, similarly, the user ID, the person in charge of the activity, set that to user ID, which means whoever logs into this group, it fills in that value with their user. So it's only going to show me my activities if I log in as me, or if I log in as Lee Hogan, it'll only show his. And like with other groups, then you just go ahead and share that out. And then everyone would see in this group their activities for next week, where they are the leader. Right now I'm logged in as the admin, so the administrator is the person that shows up there. All right, so that is it for what I've got. Are there any questions?
I am not seeing any yet. We'll give it a second. And of course, if we send this out later, if you think of something, you can always reply to the email. I'll get that email and I can always send that on to Trevor, and we can get your question answered that way as well. Some exciting stuff that they got going here. I love the visuals. I think it's nice that you can, I think the thing that I think is most exciting is that you can take that snapshot of a chart. I use that. I mean, I do stuff like that all the time. I just take a screenshot of things. So not having to do that and having it be a little bit of a higher quality of an image, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, if there aren't any questions, we'll let you guys go and get some time back in your day. As I mentioned, I will send this out. You'll probably get the email tomorrow. And if for any reason you don't see that come in, please check your spam and, let me know if possible. Email marketing@techadv.com. I had somebody who registered today who didn't get a registration confirmation. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's any troubleshooting that needs to happen there. But thanks so much. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and stay healthy.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.